Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. I got questions. I got questions. I got questions. And we're going to start off with Mason and Ava. Part of me is just like, what the hell did they do to Mason? Okay? Some of the things that are coming out of his mouth just seem so random and kind of out of character to some extent. There's a line that he says that I'm just not comfortable saying. So you gotta sit there and watch the episode. But there's one point he was like, "Oh, you saw me with with the knife or whatever, and it turned you on, didn't it?" And I'm just like, "What?" And of course he's like, "Well, you had your chance to sit there and be with a real man." Here's the thing that I always find very funny in situations where you have the woman or whatever that's being tied up by the man, and they'll sit there and do something, and they try to. I don't understand with this whole. Let's try to reason with the sociopath because maybe I could just talk my way out of this. I found it just hilarious. Of course, he's like, well, if you do me a solid, then Sonny doesn't have to find out, and I'm like, oh, good old just using Sonny's name whenever it's convenient. We'll sit there and trash Sonny left and right, but when it benefits us, yeah, let's use Sonny's name. But whatever. He wasn't having it. Now, here's the thing that's very odd to me, to some extent. So he gets a call from Cyrus, and Cyrus is like, listen, I'm satisfied with everything. You can sit there and just let her go home. I'm good. Okay. All right. So you heard the man. You just let him go. You just let her go. I mean, she's already being feisty and wild and everything like that. You can just drop that head and go off somewhere else. This dude decides to go rogue. I'm just like, wait, what? Why? Why? I, I'm confused. I mean, did they ever really annoy you that much? I mean, I get it. You gotta sit there and be trapped with her, and she's all mad and angry and yelling and yeah, I get it. It can sit there and drive any person to want to take care of her, but you got orders from the main man to sit there and stand down. He's like, okay, cool. I'm just going to drag you to the end of this cliff and I'm just going to just toss you off. I have questions about that. Um, Dex is that they're working with Spinelli to sit there and try to find Ava. And he does get there in time to stop Ava from, Mason from throwing Ava off the cliff, right? So, he doesn't really have a clear shot. David does something to distract him. Now, I don't know if he actually did shoot him or not. I gotta sit there and go back and watch. But they get to a point where they start fighting, and it seems like it's kind of close. But I mean, let's be honest. You look at Mason. You look at Dex. How close was that fight, really? Like how close was that fight, really? So he's about to sit there and drag Dex off the cliff. Ava, which I don't understand this. Ava's always by the car. She's like, no, don't do it. Ava, you want to sit there and try to find a rock or something? Maybe you could sit there and just kind of, no, we're just going to sit there and just yell back and just, and do what exactly? I really didn't understand that. So it's a good thing that Dante came there and put two holes in the back of him. Otherwise, Dex would have been dead. Probably, maybe. I don't know. Like, thanks, Ava. You really did help out there. Of course, Mason's still alive. You see that in the previews with Austin Snitty talking to him. Now, Carly, is talking to Drew, and Drew's like, yeah, well, I'm a lot better now. I can go back to jail. And she's like, no, we got to sit there and try to talk to the doctor, bribe him, whatever. Drew's like, you know what, listen, we're not going to sit there and drag this out. So he's ready to sit there and go back. She's feeling guilty because, she's like, I put you in the situation in the first place. I'm like, yeah, you did. You really, really did. Cyrus walks in there, and, he's all like, well, I just want to sit there and see how my friend is doing. He really saved my life, and I saved his life. Now, of course, let's be very clear. Okay, the whole thing about Drew getting beat up or whatever to the end of his life, they could have killed him if they wanted to. But this was more about Cyrus not owing him anything. That's what it was straight up about. It was about Cyrus not owing him anything. This way, you could just sit there and go buck wild and be like, hey, you know what? Listen, we're even Staples. So now we're starting from zero. So pretty much I can do what I want, more or less. Because I'm not really buying that whole him finding God. I'm not buying that. But of course, Carly's like, so let me get this straight. Cyrus gets out, but they sending you back to jail. Yeah, it's pretty messed up. Lois meets Chase and Ned. Okay, hold on. Let me rewind that for a minute. Lois is not there talking to Ned. I know they call him Eddie. I'm not doing that. No, Lois is not there talking to Ned. And, she's all like, well, I get it for the other people. You may not remember them, but I'm pretty sure you remember me. And I'm just like, part of me wants to sit there and be like, what really makes you so much special? What makes you more special than her? What makes you more special than his daughter? You know? I mean, I get that they had this crazy life, crazy adventure, or whatever, but I'm like, if he doesn't remember his little girl, no offense, but you're not that special. Like, you're really not. But anyway, they come in there, they go through memory lane, and, she talks about the ups and downs of being with Eddie Main or whatever. That he was married to her and somebody else. And of course, Ned apologizes. And this is where it gets weird, because at this point, she's like, but you only apologize for the stuff that you know now, but you don't really remember. You're just kind of apologize. I'm just like, what do you want him to do? I mean, he really didn't have to apologize in the first place. Yeah, that stuff happened, but he doesn't remember, and it happened a long time ago. You want an apology for like over 20 something years ago, or 20, 30 something years ago? Is that what you want? And then she's like, well, you don't remember this, you don't remember that. I was like, yeah, did you not understand that he got a bump on the noggin and he can't remember anything? And he wound up leaving. He's like, "Yo, this chick is literally driving me nuts." She's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I kind of pushed it too far." And I was just like, well, "Why did you?" Because I didn't really understand that. I think that was more just to clear the room so this way, Chase could sit there and give her a bunch of compliments. Um, Tracy does apologize to Gregory for blurting. She felt bad, but Gregory came in there. He thanked her. Let's be very clear. Gregory has been handling this thing with Chase and Finn to some extent very piss poor. And so he did thank her. He was like, "Yeah, I was mad at you, but I was also mad at myself for the way I sat there and I handled it with them." They get to talking. They played some backgammon that we don't get to see. Um, and apparently he wins, or she lets him win. I don't know. She does apologize. She feels genuinely bad, so bad that when Ned comes in there, she is actually nice. She's nice to him, and she doesn't berate him for sitting there playing, like whatever, like the music whatever. Because he comes in, he's like, "Yo, this chick is wild. Like she is driving me up a damn wall at this point." She's all like, "Oh, I'm sorry." I mean, she's super apologetic, and you know, I think that's one of the great things about Tracy. That Tracy could be very ruthless, very cutthroat, but she's also human, right? And sometimes in life, no matter how mad you are at a situation, you sit there and see something else. You kind of realize it's not really that bad compared to what somebody else is going through. No matter how ruthless or hardcore that you may be, you know? So she just kind of walks off and, she walks into she walks into Lois and she's all like, oh yeah, I put those two together, yada, yada, yada. And of course, Lois is like, oh yeah, you blackmailed my daughter. And it's like, yeah, but the damage is already done. Like, I don't know. I mean, what's going to come from that at that point? The whole time, Austin Smith they're talking to Cyrus like, hey, so I did you this favor. You gonna let my girl go? You gonna let my girl go? He pretty much asked that question like about 40 something times throughout this whole episode. Even when at one point Cyrus tells Mason like, all right, listen, I'm good. So you can let it go. You can let it go back home, man. I got what I need. But he does have to remind him who's in charge. He's like, yo, listen, my generosity, my patience goes only so much. It's best for you to sit there and remember who's actually in charge of this whole thing. And then towards the end, Carly, well, Carly finds out that things is going down. She needs to sit there and get back there as soon as possible. Now, for a hot minute, seeing Dex and Spinelli work together was almost Jason vibes. Was almost Jason and Spinelli vibes. The only thing that's missing is the actual friendship that went along with those two. The thing about Dex in this scene is that he's really good as far as the whole action and the whole look and everything like that, right? Which is why I always sit there and call him Jason 2.0. The sad thing about Dex is that we don't really get a whole lot from him, right? I mean, granted, even and I don't just mean like the stuff in his past or anything like that, but we don't really get much from him. He's with Jocelyn. They do their whole Jex or whatever stupid name that they came up with. They got that whole thing going on, right? That's just I feel like they can give him so much more, and they really haven't, and it's a shame. It's a genuine shame because when I understand the dude's on contract, right? I mean, let's be honest. He was brought in to sit there and be the next Jason, but you're not. With Jason, they gave us for the most part more than just him being a tough guy and Sonny's right hand man. They gave him layers. They haven't done that with Dex, and the dude has been on there for like what, maybe 2 years, give or take. I would say. I could be wrong. We still don't really get much from him. I don't know. Just kind of disappointing to be honest. Anyway, I feel like that's pretty much about it. I can't think of anything else. Of course, if I do, um, come to the live stream tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We'll sit there and talk about all the shows. YNR, Days, GH, B&B. Let me try this again. General Hospital, Born the Beautiful, um, Days of Our Lives, and Young and the Restless. I don't understand why there's only four, and yet somehow every time I say that list, it's like I'm missing something. Probably missing 10 other soap operas that used to be on, but just for the sake of this argument, I always feel like I'm missing something. Anyway, with that being said, I'm going to go. I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.